Right, we should be live here.
Nice.
All right, have you seen that Kyle and Peel, K and Peel one, the noise one? Oh, there's like this. You know who K is? It K and Peel, Kai and Peel, or whatever?
I have no idea who they are.
They're these two black guys that do this comedy sketch that is just like sketch comedy. It's hilarious. But there's one where he's like, noise. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right. So what's up? What's the good news and the bad news?
Yeah, I told you before the show, good news and bad news. So the good news is I have invoiced about $16,000 over the last week and a half.
Wow. That's good.
And that's all sponsorship. The bad news is that none of them have paid me yet, and the tool I'm using to send out the emails, the subscription ran out. And so I can't send any more emails until I get paid.
Wait a minute. Well, can't you just renew it?
No, my account's it's declining. It's declining payments. So
you're saying that you're maxed out. You're tapped out.
I am tapped out.
Oh shoot! So you can't pay. You can't send the emails to get the invoices.
No, I can send the emails, but I'd have to do it by hand. The automation system is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what's the likelihood? I mean, I guess you need to get on these people and just manually call them up and get them to pay. That's the solution here. So.
Yeah. So, man, Manny would be somewhat gratified, but anyway, so the situation is, I just need to get, somebody to send me some money. But yeah, I have my team all set to go to start putting people into the system, but they can't.
Right.
And, I have a couple of people also that are kind of in the wings that are making decisions. I don't know that I expect all of them to land, but out of the 3 or 4 of them that I'm still talking to, I expect at least half of them to come through. So,
yeah.
Anyway, it's been kind of funny. The other thing is that, so this will be the 3rd week in a row that I've had 5 calls or more for sponsorships.
Nice.
And 5 of those calls, when we got off our call last week, had already been booked.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I've had somebody else line up a sponsorship call. So this will be 6. So we're setting a new record.
Dude, I think we can take some commission payments for it as well. Thank you.
You don't get any commission on my work, man.
Yeah, apparently so. No more flywheel discussions on this podcast.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something else.
But yeah, so I just honestly I need somebody to just, pony up. I mean, if I got $65 into my PayPal account, I could pay it and get this tool back on and then get my team pushing people in. But yeah, I mean that's kind of where we're at. So but yeah, so this is definitely working. And yeah, like I said, I train my team, so they're all good to go on this stuff. So it's just a matter of covering what we got to cover. So
I'm jumping into another meeting, so I guess I'll be talking to you guys later, guys.
All right.
Say hi.
Okay.
Bye.
Hi.
Bye.
Well, I can PayPal you like $100 if you need $100 or so.
Yeah, but I don't want to ask for it.
Well, I don't. I mean, if it's gonna like get you going on this, I know you're good for it.
Yeah,
So,
I'd pay you right back as soon as the money came in. But
okay, let me do that real quick. Let me see. I'll just do it from.
Yeah, it's
Bulldog.
chuck@teachmetocode.com. Anyway, yeah, it's so that's working, and it's working really well. And I was thinking about it too, and I'm like, okay, well, if I can invoice, $10,000 every 2 weeks, I mean, that gets us through the rest of the year to $200 and something thousand and change, but that doesn't account for renewals at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it also doesn't account for holidays, which would probably, affect some of that. But yeah, it's kind of looking like if I can push this along and get it to go, we're probably going to be way better off than we were last year.
Good.
So yeah, I don't know if I have anything to report beyond, just that it's working. I did have one. So we launched a new podcast this week, but it had been in the works for a while, and my team just kind of made it go. I spent like 2 hours writing emails to promote it to my list, and it's picking up like crazy. It's the Clean Coders podcast. We're doing it in partnership with cleancoders.com.
Oh, good. Nice. Okay.
And so the first interview was Uncle Bob. The second interview was Daniel Markham, who I don't know that I expect too many people to know who he is, but he's been blogging and doing training about Agile for a long time. And then the third episode was Chris Powers, and he's the CTO or CIO of Thinkful, which is an online boot camp.
Okay.
And he was awesome. And yeah, we've had a number of other folks that have done videos and stuff for Clean Coders. So yeah, I fully expect that show is going to bring us a bunch of traffic. It'll probably give them a bunch of traffic. And overall, I think everybody's going to be pretty happy with the setup. And I was talking to one sponsor that they're going to sponsor Ruby Rogues, but then we were chatting and he's like, well, my main problem, he's like, I've got a ton of supply, because what he does is he finds people in South and Central America, so
right,
nearshoring, and then he manages the nearshoring arrangement with companies that need those guys. And
okay.
He's like, look, I can find people all day long in South and Central America that want to do the nearshoring work. And then he's like, and I've got, when I find people and I can convince them that we know what we're doing, they desperately need us. He's like, so it's really just a matter of getting people on board. And I said, dude, you need to start a podcast. And so we're looking at doing a similar arrangement to Clean Coders. I'm charging these guys more than I'm charging Clean Coders. I figure I'll just raise the rate every time I do a partnered podcast. But yeah, so it'll be on devchat.tv. It'll be about outsourcing and nearshoring, and just talk about some of the challenges. It's going to be aimed at the CTO, director of engineering kind of level, and we'll just talk about, okay, these are the questions that people generally have. Here's, and then we'll have guests on to talk about, how to do it and do it right so that you're actually solving the problem you have at your company. But yeah, I mean, then we just plug it into our system. I mean, there's not a whole lot else to do there, but
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's essentially, it's a sponsored podcast, and yeah, I mean, we'll have to do a little bit of setup work, but it's not going to be terribly bad. And Michelle can do almost all of it now. So.
Well, that sounds good. That's a good model if you can do the sponsored podcast. That's the Clean Coder one is going to be great too. Although some people don't like the Clean Coder, but
yeah, I had one podcast host quit because he didn't like Uncle Bob. And he told me what his issues were, and I really don't feel like trying to argue about it. I don't necessarily agree with him, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. If people are like that, then there's no point in trying to keep someone who is a bigot. So
yeah, well, the issue that I have is that the whole issue before was guilt by association. I was guilty because I didn't throw you under the bus, right?
Right.
And then the issue here is guilt by association because I'm working with Bob. Right. And working with Bob, really, I'm working with the CEO of Clean Coders, who isn't Bob, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
you know, yeah, I'll wind up talking to Bob, once every month or so on the podcast. So, but yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter like if you're working with Bob directly or not. Like
Yeah.
the point is that it's a technical podcast.
Well,
And
yeah.
even if it weren't a technical podcast, I mean, it's a podcast. Like there are controversial and different opinions and different podcasts for different genres of folks. Like,
yeah, but we're not even talking about those things, right?
Right.
We're talking about agile development or solid development principles or
Right.
things like that. I mean, that's the thing that I'm just like, I'm not even pushing the message you don't like, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But because Bob says stuff that people don't like, it must end. So
yeah. That is just that there is bigotry right there. That is, if you want to call what what is actual bigotry, there it is right there. It can't be any more blatant or clear. So
so it's just it's been exceptionally frustrating because it's just like, I mean, what do you want me to do? So anyway,
there's nothing. I mean, it's just a matter of time anyway, right? It's like, even if this didn't go down, right, these people are just waiting for opportunities to find something that you did wrong and then persecute you over it. And Bob would have been an issue anyway because he's always been political. So but I don't know. I mean, who's to like, I don't know. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense in the tech world to like have problems with people's political stance when you're talking about their technical aptitude or ability. So
I agree. So anyway, so we'll see where things end up. And I mean, I'm not angry at these folks. I really don't get it. And I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, well, who out there, what would I cut ties with if somebody collaborated with? And I am having a really hard time coming up with a single person, to be honest.
Yeah, I really couldn't say that. I mean, even if it was someone who was,
well, the whole situation in October, November, right? I mean, the people that were beaten down and kicking at me, if somebody wanted to partner with them, I might go warn them and say, look, this is the kind of behavior they've exhibited. You might want to think twice. Right. But if they partnered with them, I wouldn't cut them off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't have any problem with. Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, so we'll see where it all goes. But yeah, that's kind of been a thing. So I'm looking for another host or two on one of the podcasts, but we'll see. I've also had people starting to come out of the woodwork. Oh, I heard an episode a while back where you said you were looking for hosts. Are you still looking for hosts for this show? Yep, sure am. Let's talk.
Yeah.
So,
well, you'll find the right kind of people, and you'll get rid of the wrong kind of people. So that's the best way to look at that. So.
Yeah, and the sponsorship's kind of the same situation. I mean, I think most of the people who aren't going to sponsor me because of any of this stuff that's going on, they're just telling me no outright. We're not interested, right? So I will never know which ones are which. And but there are a ton of other companies that want the exposure and they're willing to talk to me. In fact, one of the companies that I'd been reaching out to for a while, I had a sponsorship call scheduled yesterday. And when I went to get on the call, I looked at the person it was scheduled with, and I'm like, there's no way it's the person by that name that I know. Turns out, yep, it was. It's my cousin's husband.
Nah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. And so we get on, and I mean, I hadn't seen him for like 4 years. And it's funny too, because they live like 10 minutes from here.
Really? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And I'm like, we get on, and I was about to say, hey, so how are your wife and the kids? And he's like, so do I know you? And I'm like, yeah, so we chatted, and and then we talked about sponsorship, and then we chatted a little bit more. But I'm like, dude, I'm like, we just need to have you guys over,
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was funny. Yeah, he works at Dev Mountain, so.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, I've got a sponsorship with Dev Mountain too. So
yeah,
that
he
Dev
said
Mountain
that
is good to work with. I like Dev Mountain a lot.
he said he'd been spending a bunch of time reaching out to YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, but you'd reached out to us a couple times, so we reached out about the podcast. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, probably the same guy that I'm
Probably.
talking to. Yeah, we're doing a sponsorship for them. So, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, so that's kind of where things are at this point. Yeah, I need to just get my team pouring leads into the lead buckets, and then just keep doing the calls. And yeah, we're gonna kill it. I mean, it's gonna be awesome. I think really where we wind up. So
yeah, I mean, you booked 16K of revenue in the last week, right? So
last week and a half, probably. Yeah.
okay, so even week and a half. I mean, if you can consistently do anywhere near that, you will be like all booked out within like a few months or so.
Yeah, we'll be in good shape here within a few months.
Yeah,
and if we can get people just to renew, doing one episode a month or one episode every 3 weeks, which is kind of what I'm recommending to people, is once every 3 weeks. And maybe we move that around a little bit if there's a topic that's timely or relevant to their deal. But yeah, I mean, I think we can knock it out of the park.
Yeah, just keep on doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've also got a couple people that I've talked to now that really want me to do the developer leadership podcast that I've been thinking about this one for like probably 9 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so I've been talking to him and I'm like, look, if I get a sponsor for this much, then I'll do it. Right. So if you agree to sponsor it, then we'll launch it. So.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like that. I think that's a good way to go with it.
Yeah. So. Otherwise, I plan on starting it anyway, and I know that I'll get sponsors for it, but I'd rather have some money up front to get it rolling. So.
Yeah, don't worry about starting new shows right now, like until you get out of the.
That's what I've told people.
Here. Yeah.
I was like, look, I'm not starting any new shows until I have, a reasonable number of my current sponsorships filled. So. Yeah, basically, but I'm like, but if you'll sponsor it, you'll cover the production costs on it.
Yeah.
Then there's no reason why I wouldn't. Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you need to get some money in the bank too.
Yeah. So yeah. So if it comes, if the new show comes with a sponsorship, then I'll start it. Otherwise, no.
Yeah. So. Cool. Anyway. Well, that's good. Yeah. Just got to get those invoices in, and then yeah, it sounds like you'll be set to go. So I've been working on hiring lately. I'm using like the online jobs.ph. And so I'm hiring. I've got 3 positions. One of them is an email and web direct response copywriter. And then one is a project manager / assistant. And then the third one is a YouTube researcher. So basically, like, I'm looking for, well, I have one full-time copywriter on my team, but I'm looking to get another one. And I'm looking at like in the Philippines because I feel like I could get some cheaper labor that since I have my main guy, he can just work as an assistant to him. So and my main guy is expensive. So need some help there. And there's so much copywriting work that needs to be done with sales pages and emails. Like there's just a ton of stuff. So I'll probably use them across both businesses, across Bulldog and Simple Programmer. And then I need a project manager to coordinate all the tasks and everything. I think that's a key role that I need. It's so many people applied for project manager, though. It's so hard to find someone because there's so many people, so many applications. So I'm kind of doing interviews and weeding out the people that aren't so good. But
yeah. Well, the other thing is like if you're hiring somebody to be a copywriter, you can have them write something for you. If you're hiring somebody to be content or research, you can have them do those tasks and pay them to, to take those steps. And then the flip side is that like project manager, I mean, I don't know what kinds of tasks you would give them to see how good they are. So
yeah,
you
that's
kind of have to talk to them and make sure that they kind of get what you want.
exactly. Yes, that's what I'm pretty much doing is I'm just talking to them and figuring out and asking them about how they would run a certain project and seeing what just what my feel is for it. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I might have to run through a few of them if I don't get the right person on the first try. The problem is then you introduce them to the team because they have to, it's not like they can just do their job in isolation. So
Yeah.
it creates a little bit of turmoil, but we'll see. I think it's an important role though. Once they get that role,
It is.
then that takes care of a lot of things. And I want them to not just like, manage the projects in Asana or whatever, but I want them to actually be able to work on a lot of the projects themselves to figure out what needs to be done, right? To basically my thinking of this role is like, okay, here's what needs to happen. We need to get this done. So go get this done. Right.
Right.
So, and then I was going to hire a YouTube researcher for someone to actually just like go out there and research what kind of videos that I should make based on the subject matter, what's going to be popular, kind of come up with the titles and a little bit of outlines for the videos. So that's what I'm looking at. That's a little bit harder. I haven't gotten very many applicants for that job at all because it's kind of a more specific thing. But if I can find someone to do that, that would work out. So
yeah, I'm curious how you do that too. I mean, are you using like SEO tools or keyword tools, or are you just looking on YouTube to see what's getting a lot of watches, or
like how I'm doing it myself?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of coming up with topics that I think would be good, and then I'm doing a little bit of research to see like if there's some topics that are trending or popular topics in the area, and then I'm really just kind of crafting a title that'll be kind of clickbaity that will attract a lot of people to it. So
yeah, do one on Bulldog impeachment. Oh. Hello. I don't know if he dropped out or if I did, so I'm going to jump off and jump back in. Hello?
All right. I don't know what happened. My internet froze on me.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was you or me, so I dropped off and jumped back in. So
okay, it's weird. I think we're still live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But yeah, the I forgot what I was saying.
We were talking about YouTube research.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I don't really have a good system for doing it, but if I hire someone full time, I'd expect they'd be able to do a good job of figuring out exactly what kind of videos I should make. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and that's one thing that I've been figuring out is I kind of showed people how I find prospects, and then I've given them a number that they need to hit for prospects.
Yeah.
And then my plan is essentially it's like, look, eventually you're going to tap out, right, the sources that I have.
Right, exactly.
And so then you're going to have to go figure out other ways to find people. But it's amazing to me too just how many people I've had to reach out to in order to line these up. But it's also funny like how many of these folks I reach out to them and then I hit them again and again and again and again and again. And it's like nothing. I get read receipts on the emails. And then like the 8th email, it's like, so we've been talking here for the last 2 weeks, right? And now we want to talk to you, you know? And then other people, it's like nothing forever. And, you know, whatever.
Yeah, you've just got to keep on following up. It's key, like, and doing it in a way that is not like the annoying way that so many people do the follow-ups.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because I had 1 or 2 companies that I had reached out to, and I basically was like, so, you know, I've got this email series that I've written, and you know, it's a series for sponsoring podcasts, how to make podcast promotion work. I was like, do you want it? And they're like, yeah, because I'd been reaching out to them another way. And they're like, oh yeah. I said, okay, well, the easiest way for me to do this is for me just to send it to you. So I'm not going to take out any of the marketing copy. And I'm kind of hoping that it converts them. But yeah. So it's interesting. But yeah, hopefully your folks can figure out what kinds of videos people are looking for, and you know, you can make stuff happen.
Yeah, I'm still not sure on that role, but hopefully I'll be able to find someone for it. We'll see. But the other one that I was thinking about doing is, and actually Manny was recommending this, is like just a full-time videographer that would basically almost like just hiring a filmmaker. It'd be a local position, and they would just follow me around with a camera, kind of Gary Vee style. And go like to the gym when I work out, and you know, just like film the whole day. And I'd have like video content that they would edit and put together as I'm talking about some subject during the day at different places and stuff. And I think that level of quality could really make the channel grow. So
I honestly have thought about doing something like that myself. And what I've thought about doing is, I think it would drive me nuts, and I think it would drive my wife nuts to have somebody follow me around like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, just get a decent setup where, you know, I can just kind of whip out, you know, my camera equipment periodically and just do the content throughout the day, right? And so it would just be like a 5-minute go, and it'd be like, hey folks, I just reached out to 1,000, you know, podcast sponsor folks. You know, here's kind of, you know, I have this, you know, I have a sequence and I just drop them in. But yeah, you know, if, you know, and just talk a minute about, you know, why I think sponsorship is good, or, you know, hey, I sat down and wrote some code, and, you know, here's why, you know, here's what I learned or something, you know, and just periodically, you know, hit any of that.
Yeah. The problem is that you've got to get it all like edited, and that's the tough part. So putting it all together, but
but the flip side of that too is that I mean, I'm not opposed to just doing a quick job on it and putting it up just to get going, because having you know, something that is you know, maybe high quality video but isn't super polished is better than not having anything out there.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're going for, but you need to focus on the sponsorship. So
I do. It's something that I've considered, but yeah, it's definitely something that's on the back burner for right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can get things to the point where my team is filling in the prospecting, and I can take that off of my plate, you know, for the most part or altogether, then, you know, then it becomes a different thing. So
that's true. So yeah.
But anyway, I mean, that's kind of the deal. I'm really hoping that I can get my team up to snuff so that we're putting all those people in the field in the prospecting outreach kind of thing, and then roll from there.
Yeah. No, it's good. Just keep on working the system, and you'll,
that's really what it boils down to. So
yeah, I've been trying to. I still need to like reduce my stuff down to a singular focus. That's why I'm hiring too. Is I think hiring will help me to get a lot of the stuff off my plate. That it's a lot of small stuff that, like, having a project manager will probably help a lot with that. And then I've still got to do, like, I have to publish a book for Simple Programmer, and again, a project manager might be able to handle that work for me. Actually, I've got to publish 2 books, and then I have to record a webinar for Bulldog Mindset for that funnel. So
I hear that. And I think that's kind of where I'm getting to as well, is that the selling is kind of the singular focus right now, but I know that this other stuff is going to become more important the longer I push it off. For example, I want to do basically what amounts to a webinar for marketing podcast through podcasting. And I want to put a bunch of content up, where people can find it on LinkedIn and YouTube and stuff. But I've just been pushing it off because I don't have time with all the prospecting and follow up and stuff that I've been doing. So it's
Yep. All right. Well, I don't have that much other stuff this week. I've been playing catch up. I'm playing catch up today because I was traveling. But
I did have one conference reach out to me a couple months ago, as far as other stuff to just talk about for a minute. And they're putting on a conference in Amsterdam. And I just basically said, look, I don't have the money for any of the travel or anything. So, I mean, if you want to cover the whole trip, right? Because they reached out about another conference in December, and they wanted me to pay for the travel costs, and then I would get reimbursed. And I'm just like, look, I'm not even in a position to do that. And so they got back to me today and said, we'll pay for your whole trip.
Oh, nice. For the Amsterdam one?
Yeah. And so I'll come out of it with a bunch of content for a couple of the shows, and so that'll be a good thing, because we're starting to get ahead now on the production as well. And what that does is, when I talk to Richard Campbell, what he does is he sends, and I'm going to start doing this, but I can't do this with all the shows because we're not that far ahead. But what he does is, because he does run as radio just himself, he can schedule him for whenever he needs to. And so he'll sit down and he'll record out, 5 or 6 episodes, and then he'll be 5 or 6 episodes ahead at the end of the month. And so a week before the end of the month, he sends out an email and says, these are the episodes that are coming out next month. Do you want to sponsor any of them?
Oh, I see. That's good. Yeah.
And so, so I'm looking to do that as well with some of the folks that sounded interested or have replied to me and just said, not right now, and get that rolling too. Cause maybe I can fill in a handful of them every month that way.
Right.
And then I don't have to sit down and do the sales call. They just email me back. I send them an invoice. We get everything set up, and we're off to the races. And so I can backfill some of that, but I need to be like 6 weeks ahead, and not all of the shows are there. So that's kind of a thing too. I've also thought about, though, like, I've been to get ahead is, just spend a little bit of time learning those technologies, and then record 3 or 4 episodes that we just kind of do every other one. And it's, hey, so I started picking up Vue or React Native or something, right? And, so here's an hour's report on the time that I spent learning it and stuff. But again, I don't have time for it right now, but it's something that would directly help the sponsorships. And so for me, it's just, when we're talking about the hiring, it's getting the stuff that I can have other people do off my plate, so that I can do the other things that are going to make it move forward faster.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's all still in service of that, that sponsorship sales cycle.
Yeah.
And I feel like once I've got that all pretty much clicking along under its own power, then I can turn my attention to something else.
Yep. No, that's it. That's what you got to do.
So anyway, so I am kind of curious. You said you have 2 books to publish. Are they both yours, or is one of them somebody else's?
One of them is an author that I had brought on because I'm looking at doing publishing for Simple Programmer. So he's finished the book, and so I've got to get that out. And then the other one is my book, is the one that Manning pulled, so Soft Skills.
Right.
So which they're still selling, but I guess I'm just going to leave it at that until I have the chance to actually replace it. So
yeah, I'm a little curious because I would really like to write another book. Again, it's like way down the road. But if I wanted to publish it and I didn't want to publish it under Simple Programmer, like what kind of arrangement do you think you would be looking at in order to help me get it out? Because the people who did it last time, to say they dropped the ball would be a massive understatement.
Yeah. Well, I would do the publishing. I mean, as far as like, I don't think we'd do consulting services for a book launch. It'd be we'd act as the publisher. So that's the model I'm looking for Simple Programmer.
Gotcha.
Would be basically
so you wouldn't
as the publisher.
You wouldn't be interested in publishing a book under my KDP account.
No.
Under my brand. Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
It'd be just like kind of services, which I want to make sure that it's just like Simple Programmer moves to more of the publisher model, so that we're
no, that
basically
makes sense.
Capitalizing off of our audience and the cloud of the other books. So
no, that makes sense. I mean, I'm kind of looking at the same thing, right? I'd like to write a series of books and then have them all, I capitalize off of the overall brand, right?
Yep. Exactly. So, but I got to get that rolling. It's been hard to get focused on because there's so many things that have been coming up. But
yeah, but
do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's back to what we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks, and Manny keeps punching me in the nose about is focus on the thing that's going to make the biggest difference and just go after that. And once you have that nailed down, then go after the next thing. So the books may have to wait, or 1 or 2 of these other things may have to wait a month or 2 while you get this other stuff figured out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll see. It's getting there.
Yeah. I am not a patient person though, and it sounds like you're kind of having the same struggle where it's I want to do it now and I want it done now.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, I just want to clear off all this stuff off my plate and then not add new stuff on there. So
not adding new stuff is just as hard.
Yeah.
But
I know. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to, I don't know if I'd mentioned, I got invited to speak at a technical conference actually for Simple Programmer, which I'll be doing in Lisbon this summer. So I've been planning that out. So that'll be interesting. I haven't spoken at a software development conference in a while.
Nice. Did they invited you and
yeah. So they're going to pay me to speak there. So, and then cover everything.
Yeah, that makes sense. So interesting.
Yeah.
What are you speaking about?
Probably what I was going to do is like career tips from my book. Basically, I'll pick out like 5 or so of them and then talk about those.
And that's the complete guide, software development career guide, or I can't remember exactly what it's called.
Yeah, the complete software developer career guide. So
nice.
Yeah, I figured that'll be pretty easy, and that's going to be a popular topic anyway. So oh, I'm so tired. I got sick this week. I got strep throat, and it's just the worst thing.
Oh man. I would commiserate with you, but I've never actually had strep throat.
You've never had strep throat?
I have never had strep throat.
Wow, that's crazy. I don't know how you
I know it's
avoid that.
I don't know either, because like, you know, I lived at home when my brothers and sisters got it. My kids have had it. I've never had it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've had it quite a few times.
Yeah.
It's not fun. So,
well, and I've seen a bunch of folks, you know, deal with some of that stuff. And, you know, I mean, you're not going to die of it, but it's no fun for a few days. So,
yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, I think we might as well do our thoughts for the day.
heck yeah.
All right. Finish early today.
Yep.
I got to think about mine.
I mean, for me, for the most part, it's, you know, what we've been kind of talking about already, and that's just trust the system. I mean, you know, you get focused, you get in there and pull crap together, and then you trust the system. So, yeah, I mean, and that's what's working, right? So it's just being consistent. And I guess related to that is, I mean, I've been doing a lot of really boring crap work that I don't love doing, but I mean, that's what it takes. So,
yeah. I would say mine is just more of a pragmatic one, because I keep on doing this when I travel, and I'm spending today catching up because I didn't at least spend like an hour or two every day just like keeping up with emails and stuff. It always takes longer when it piles up. So make sure that when you travel, or that you have some kind of plan ahead of time to stay on top of things, because otherwise you end up losing the travel time plus in the time when you get back, and that keeps on happening to me. So that's my tip, is to just an hour a day is enough, like to stay on top of emails or to take care of a few tasks, I think, and that makes a huge difference. But,
yep. Yeah. And I also just pulled up, I know we're doing thoughts and wrapping up, but I just pulled up the numbers for the Clean Coders podcast. And in 3 days, Uncle Bob's episode's gotten almost 500 downloads.
Oh, wow. That's crazy for a brand new podcast.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, that thing should take off pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hadn't had any podcast until now. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was funny how that all worked out too, because I'd been talking to the CEO over there for like 5 months, and then Twitter blew up in my face.
Yeah.
And so then I wind up talking to Uncle Bob. I talked to him on the phone like twice in the middle of it. And then I sent him an email after we, signed the publishing agreement and everything. And I'm like, so when are we going to do this podcast? And he's like, oh, I knew Tad was talking to somebody. I didn't know it was you.
Oh, that's funny.
And so then we lined up the interview, and we did the interview in November.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just kind of funny how it all kind of came about, because the one was almost entirely unrelated to the other, even though people saw him out there championing me during that mess. So.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up for this week then. All right. I sent you the money via PayPal. So
yeah, I saw it in there. So I'm just, I'm going to get that all set up, and we'll hit it hard.
Cool. All right.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And I'll pay you back as soon as the sponsorship money comes in.
Yeah, no worries. All right, Chuck. Talk to you next week.
Yep. Bye.